So some post-workout reflections. Uh, Coming back from being ill and not being able to train. I mean, it was only since last Wednesday, so it's not like I've been out for so long, but out significantly enough and sort of fell out my routine. But back training, and firstly, thank God for healing. Thank God for the wisdom that He has given to doctors, but also for the wisdom that He has, wisdom and intelligence and creativity that He's demonstrated in building the human body to be so resilient and to be able to sort of take nutrients and heal itself. It's such an incredible organism. We haven't figured it out yet. You know, our greatest minds, our greatest scientific minds, are just about cracking self-healing sort of concrete and paint. And even at that, it's fairly primitive. But our bodies are so incredible. They can find defects and take the right nutrients and correct them. So thank God for that. But the interesting thing that occurred to me today was, and I don't know this scientifically to be true, but I have a sense of the fact that our bodies seem to always be mindful of like leaving something in a tank, keeping something in a tank for emergencies. And I say that to say, I think our perceived limits, what we perceive, what we think we can achieve, always ends up being actually a little bit less than what we can actually do. And I think that's because our bodies are always wanting to have a little bit reserve and a little bit left, so that if there is an emergency, if there is a necessity for that, it will have something to give. I think that's just self-preservation. But I come to that conclusion because I've been hitting 150 kilograms on my deadlift for a while now, and I know that's probably not much by sort of strength standards, but you know, I'm just getting sort of back into it. It's a lot for me. It's been the upper limit thus far, and today I normally progress on my deadlift from 70. Progressing 20 kilogram increments for five sets, and on my second set I accidentally went up to 110 when I was supposed to go to 90, and being the silly idiot that I am, I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. So second set 110, 130, 150 on my fourth set, and that's normally my limit. And in between, in the break from 150, I was like, oh, should I just do 150 twice? And I hit it for 5 reps. Let's just do it twice. Maybe next time we'll go 160. Just like, you know, I've got 20 kilograms. I've got 2 10 plates put on either end. And pulled 170 for the first time. But pulled it such that it wasn't to failure. And I mean, I've not been training to failure. I've been using the 5x5 methodology that helps you build strength without having to train to failure. And I'm not necessarily looking for hypertrophy or anything like that. I'm just looking to try and build a base of strength. But it was, if I hadn't accidentally, essentially, done that, accidentally loaded the wrong plates on my second set, I wouldn't have even attempted. I would have, you know, conservatively tried and eventually cracked 160 and then 170. But I was like, actually, that wasn't even my limit. That wasn't even like, it was hard. Of course it was hard. 150 isn't easy, but I could do it. And it's just interesting. And I think that sometimes plays into our faith as well, because I think our faith, or our again, that self-preservation, faith is asking a lot of yourself. It's asking, not a lot of yourself, it's asking a lot of God sometimes. And it's much easier to preserve our ego, preserve our pride, preserve ourselves, to sometimes have maybe less faith than we actually can exhibit. And I'm reminded so much of Peter, because staring at Christ, seeing Christ, believing Christ, and staring at Christ, he had the faith to say, yo, if it's you, ask me to come. And he steps out of a boat and walks on water. But then that sort of self-preservation kicks in, and he looks around and he sees, ooh, there's tides and there's storms, and I'm actually out out on the limb here, as it were. And when he realizes that is when he starts to sink. Again, I think there's God's grace in that Christ was right there somehow. So he either gone far, or Christ had moved to come and catch him, and Christ picks him up. But either way, this wasn't meant to be a preacher or motivation or anything. It was just an observation, and I guess an encouragement to test your limits, but physically and in faith. Obviously with wisdom. I'm not saying go jump out of a building. We understand that faith will seek to please God, not necessarily please your ego. So there's all those caveats, and I guess you want to study it a bit more and be sure of what you are asking of your faith, or what you're trying to exhibit with your faith. But yeah, just test the limits, man. Peace.